Ladies and gentlemen, this is not the greatest episode in the world. This is a tribute. Last week, James and I recorded what might have been the best episode in the world. Certainly feels like it was the best episode in the world because we never got to hear it back because the good people at Zoom made our audio delete and haven't helped us recover it since. So I'm glad that they're relaxing lockdown because nobody's going to use Zoom anymore, apart from people who have like actual jobs who, use it for the correct reasons. But apart from those people, Zoom's going to die an ugly death. And James, do Zoom deserve to die an ugly death?
Well, I'm not sure, mate. I feel like us claiming it's the greatest podcast of all time, a little bit rose-tinted spectacles, isn't it?
Nope.
I mean, I felt at the time it was the world's best podcast.
Yeah.
No, I'm sticking with it. World's best podcast.
There's no evidence to suggest anything other. We enjoyed it. I think it was our best one yet. And here we are. We're not recording episode 6. We're recording episode 6.5, which gives us leeway to skirt through things and go into detail on other things. We've done it all before. We're doing it again. Let us know if it's any good. So, first of all, that's what happened, which is why we've been quiet for a while, because we were the best weekly podcast anyone's ever heard. And now we're the best sporadic, release whenever you want podcast anyone's ever heard. It's just a change of title. So yeah, thank you very much for everyone who got involved in the competition, which the results to which are going to be announced today. But a massive thank you first to Rob and all the guys at Crossbay for the beers that he sent that we're going to review in time when he comes on the show. James, you managed to have any yet?
I had the Zenith yesterday, the IPA.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, whilst watching the football, it was very good.
Very nice.
The rest of them I've kind of saved for when Rob comes on.
Yeah, definitely.
A bit of a surprise, so
yeah.
Looking forward to it now. And we're going to try and get our way up to Morecambe at some point.
Absolutely. Well, that'll be the death of Zoom as well, because they're going to feel it when we cancel our paid membership because we're going to be touring the country recording in pubs. That'll show them.
That'll learn them.
I've got a real cross to bear with these guys because they kept sending me emails and I'd be like, oh, I've seen a Zoom email. That must mean the audio's back. That much, that's great. Brilliant. And then it'd be, thank you very much for your patience. Unfortunately, in these times, we can't help you right now, but we will strive to help you as soon as possible. Thanks. Press this to close your ticket. Now, I'm not closing my ticket. You haven't helped. And then she said, thank you very much. I'm glad that we could solve this problem for you. I will now close your ticket. Oh, you don't fucking close the ticket. So I need to drop this because it's going to really ruin the episode of everything.
This is very dictionary definition first world problems, isn't it? Like,
our media recording deleted.
Should we get on with some beers then, mate?
First of all, I just want to say that I listened to Rob's podcast the other day. Far more beer related than this one. I learned a lot. It was very interesting. It was about the history of beer. What is beer? And one of the biggest learns for me, I will put a link up to it so everybody else can listen. Our huge following, it would be nice if you all got involved. The biggest learn for me was that we were pronouncing Rob's surname wrong.
Oh, yeah. I was going for Jax.
Yeah, the French. Yeah. Jake's apparently. So apologies, Rob, because you've had a few shout-outs, and I'd like to apologise on behalf of the More Cans Ain't Wise team.
I'm not apologising.
Oh.
I'm sticking to my guns. One half is apologising. The other, if it's spelt like Jax, it's Jax, isn't it?
Yeah, why not? 50% rounds up, doesn't it? So we're all apologising. Don't worry.
But we're all also not apologising as well.
So speaking of beers, should we segue into something that people are actually going to want to listen to?
In the lost episode that we recorded last week, we kind of introduced a new scale for our beer review. We're
making it so that you can cross compare all the beers properly and effectively and fairly.
So it's, I think before we give out the scores for the first beers, and we've kind of gone back and done retrospectively.
Yeah.
We just wanted to say that this is primarily focused or totally focused on beers you can get in the supermarket.
Or can't.
Or usually can't in Ben's case. Who lives nowhere near an Asda or a Morrison's? It's ridiculous. But, so we wanted it to be, and we'll go through the categories, but does this mean that one beer is better than the others? It's just how we feel, and also to do with the parameters we put inside it. So our first is sessionability.
Yeah.
Basically, because we like having a few beers.
Don't like being persecuted for it.
Yeah, and also one beer at a time is pretty boring. Affordability.
Yeah.
Standard. Attainability. Now, this is something that Ben has scored some beers very low over when we've been doing this, because, as I say, who lives near no... Is your closest supermarket, and I want a yes or no answer, Ben, is your closest supermarket a Waitrose?
Right. Well, I've not paced it out, but it'll be in the top 2.
Oh, wow. And the others are Booths, I assume, or...
There is Booths, yeah. Yeah, there is a Booths, but that's not the closest. We have co-ops as well, so, you know.
Slumming it, mate.
Pretty rough round here.
So, attainability, and again, Ben's not somebody who's down. Taste, obviously huge. And then the fifth category is branding.
Yeah.
And some are kind of weighted higher than us, but we put all the scores in out of 10 that we do, and it gives us a number at the end. Wilco helped us do 2 or 3 beers. We've been back and done all the other beers that we've done. So the current leaderboard, all the beers are marked out of 100, and we've ended up with like a sliding scale between mid-60s and early 70s.
Uh-huh.
Club Tropicana is the leader at the moment, 76.7.
Rightly so.
Bit of a drop to Landlord, and then all of the other beers are much of a muchness.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to carry on doing it. We've got kind of a special episode today with the beer that we're going to talk about today.
Yeah.
Because of reasons that will become clear. So
circumstances.
But we're going to put all of these beers online. We'd love to know your thoughts, so just shout at us at Twitter if you think we've got beers wrong.
Yeah.
And we'd really like your suggestions of beers that you found in the supermarket that you reckon we should be trying.
Yeah, we did actually get one. Biley's Mullet. I know that's not your name on Twitter, but I love it, and I love our interactions. So thank you for the recommendation there.
So yeah, so all that'll go up. And if you want to give us a shout, that'd be cool. So
yeah.
Moving on to this week's, we have gone Goose Island Midway Session IPA.
Yeah.
For the 4 people watching us on YouTube, I'll put that up to the camera there.
Oh yes. By the way, guys, we're on YouTube. We're getting a solid 1 or 2 views so far. But you know, if you want to see what this looks like, I know obviously there's a lot of mystery, you know, behind the voices. You know, what do they look like? You all know us, but what would it look like us sitting in our rooms with headphones on? Well, it doesn't need to be a mystery anymore.
And you can double our weekly audience with one. I mean, even if you just put it on, like, I know it's not great for the planet, but if you've got it on your laptop and you just want to put all our episodes on and put mute on,
oh yeah,
when you're sleeping, that'd be ideal.
Yeah, I'm behind that.
Yeah.
It might send you to sleep.
I mean, it'll send you something. Right.
All kinds of something.
So the Midway Session IPA I kind of picked as a beer simply because it was new to market, or reasonably new to market. It's brewed for a European market, even though it's made in America. And I wanted to kind of talk about Goose Island and the history of that company.
Yeah.
And also talk about route to market. I get asked quite a lot about why certain beers get imported or why pubs will take certain beers in. So I thought it was an interesting case in point to try. So I'm not really too much about the beer itself. I mean, it's a single hot, easy drinking session IPA. Easy drinking. It's probably not as high a hop level as like a traditional East Coast.
Yeah.
I mean, it's called Midway because Goose Island is named after an island in Chicago. And Goose Island's quickly started out in the late 80s, came to promise in the mid 90s, and they're one of the biggest independent brewers in the country, but also the biggest in Chicago. Midway. That whole area is named after the grounds where the World's Fair was in the 1890s. So anything where the big airport, for example, in Chicago is Chicago Midway, and it's kind of that idea that it's midway towards like the in between the east and the west. So
do you find a lot that beers make it in America and over here?
Yeah, it does depend. I
Because
mean, a good example of this would be something like Brooklyn. Like,
yeah,
like
Sam Adams.
yes. So with those beers, like with Brooklyn,
Yeah,
that, and we'll get onto like distribution, but that Brooklyn's owned by the rights itself for European distribution are different to that in the US. So a brand can own its own distribution rights in a certain country, and then another brewery or company can buy the rights to sell that beer in the UK. So,
okay.
for example, Brooklyn is currently owned by Carlsberg. So Carlsberg have the rights to Brooklyn. So obviously access to price and stuff, access to a market without the middleman, effectively.
And that's why you see a lot of it. A
So,
lot.
so the recent boom has been that, yeah. I mean, Carlsberg kind of got on it after it initially set,
Yeah.
but yes, so that means that the price for traders has come down slightly in comparison. So, like, this actually leads on quite well to Goose. So, like, I mean, Ben managed to not get the beer
Oh,
again.
let me just right. So we
So,
recorded it the first time, and I didn't have the right beer because I thought the Goose IPA and Goose uh, Midway IPA. Nearly forgot. I've been calling it Midland. I thought they were the same thing, and they look fairly similar on the cans. Yeah, and so I bought a Goose wheat beer and this one, to try and redeem myself. And this week, well, in the time that's gone by since, I've not been able to find any, which I think it says a lot more about me than it does about the beer. I wouldn't
well,
like anybody's judge the beer based on that.
I think for price point and stuff for the Midway to kind of
Yeah,
get people's idea, well, then we can move on to the distribution stuff. Is the Midway comes in at eight 330 ml cans for 10 quid. So
right.
it's on the lower end of what you'd expect to pay for a can of beer. It's £1.25 a can. For something that's imported, that's pretty great. I mean, I think it's brewed under license actually, but
Brewed under
it's
license being that it's brewed in the, made in this
yes,
country.
yes, or some quite often Amsterdam for some beers.
Okay.
So brewed under license just tends to mean that another brewery or the same arm of a brewery will use a recipe and use their equipment to make a certain beer.
Yeah.
So with the case of quite a few of the popular American beers, is like they, because it's so expensive to ship a beer and once it's made,
Yeah.
it's a lot easier to make the beer over here and then sell it under the name. So
Is it like watching a DJ set at a festival?
yeah, like it's people brand like Tiger, for example, which is part of Heineken.
Yeah.
Like all their branding is Cobra's another example. They're both made in this country.
Yes, they are.
But it's clever marketing that makes you think that it's not.
Yeah.
And that's not something like people know. So like with Goose, a little bit about Goose whilst we're talking. So the Midway, I'm not going to say too much. The Midway mellow drinking IPA, I really like it like barbecues, red meat, that type of food pairing. The Goose IPA that you've got, 5.9.
I'd love to try the Midway one day.
Yeah, the Goose is like 5.9, a little bit stronger, a lot more of a traditional IPA. So big on the hops, like you get that hop bitterness. It's almost like piney and citrusy, which I like.
Yes, it is. Yeah.
Again, red meat, great food pairing. And the reason that I kind of bought Goose was for two reasons. So we'll talk distribution and we'll go back to Goose. So Goose started out in the early 80s, country promise in the 90s, was bought out by Anheuser-Busch about 8 to 10 years ago. Do you know
Yeah.
Anheuser-Busch?
You'd think I would because you said it in the last episode and I was
Said
here.
this before.
And
So,
go on, for the purposes of the listeners and me.
So Anheuser-Busch is the most famous beer is Budweiser. So a huge beer and distribution company in America. It's Busch Gardens. If you've ever been there, that's them. Their brands include Beck's, Brahma, Budweiser, Corona,
Bloody hell.
Eagle,
Yes,
Jupiler, Leffe, Modelo. Like, I'm just scrolling through these now. Hogarden.
I have a lot of respect for the Leffe and Hogarden drinkers. I was in the supermarket today and some lad strolled up confidently getting one of those magnums of beer. Like, fair play.
Nice. I like, yeah, there's something almost like, it's very 90s, that, wasn't it? It was very just next to the Boddingtons.
Yeah. Oh God, love a Boddingtons.
Yeah. The cream of Manchester. So when beers, so when that company takes it on, it obviously how they then get beers to market in the UK kind of changes. So I thought it was kind of interesting to bring this beer in because this is a beer. The Midway is a beer that's brewed for the European market.
Yeah. So the Americans don't have it over there.
Very rare. I couldn't really find that much of it. Like,
yeah,
the IPA is very popular, but because Anheuser-Busch have the license and they can brew it over here, that's the beers that you will see in the supermarket where they test the water. So if Goose Island products fly off the shelf in supermarkets, they then bring a larger range.
Yeah.
And one of the reasons I chose Goose Island was because these were the guys. Goose Island were the first people to use used whiskey and bourbon barrels to age beer.
Yeah.
So like they're very famous. They have like a Bourbon County brand stout.
Okay.
So,
I've seen that. It's meant to be the best ever.
So yeah, so it's probably the most famous, especially like in that region, like North American region, most famous like aged stout. I mean, some of the cherry stuff they do a lot. The brewery itself pushed the arm in terms of doing the Belgian and the lambic styles as well.
Yeah.
But I would say they grew to like fame in the early 90s by doing this aging of beers using bourbon. Their barrel room is like the biggest in the US. It's enormous.
Yeah.
So I thought it was cool that we kind of brought this in, is that because you have a certain type of beer in the supermarket, and it is deliciously drinkable and great.
Yeah.
It's great how a supermarket can be a great gateway to a brewery and other stuff. So I would recommend trying it. I think it's really, really good. And again, for the people on our YouTube, we actually take quite a lot of this stuff and our ideas from a book called The Beer Bucket List.
The Beer Bucket List. We're both holding up to the cameras now. That's what you're missing out on the podcast at home.
So it's by Mark Dredge. We've been using it quite a lot for like our upcoming like vlogging ideas, our days out.
Yeah.
Also, there's quite a nice piece on Goose in there and visited Chicago, which I'd love to do. Again, it's on my bucket list separately from that.
Well, once we hit 1,000 downloads and we've got our jackets, I think naturally the thing to do will be to go abroad in our jackets. Yeah. Can the jackets can have little passport pockets? Yeah.
Eat some hot dogs. Drink some beer.
Interesting that you mentioned hot dogs.
Oh, go on. Nice segue. I like this.
No, it's not a segue. We're talking later.
So yeah, that was it really. In terms of the beer itself, I think it's easy drinking. I think it's a great, what I would consider, and this is going to sound crazy, but a fridge beer. So it's something that I can put in the
If you can't get off with girls, like that's what you drink.
Frigid. No, so it's just a great summer. Like you can have it in the fridge and it just be there. It's not going to challenge.
If you're at the supermarket anyway, getting the weekly shop, it's not too much to just say I'll get a few of these because like you say, £1.25 a beer.
4 cans for a £5 is pretty outrageous.
It's all right.
That standard of beer.
This Goose IPA. This is the gateway, isn't it? This is the proper entry-level IPA beer, and I can say that because it's one of my favourites, and it's probably the first one I had. It's available in every supermarket. This is not the Midway. This is the Goose IPA because, like I say, yet to try. But yeah, it was a music venue the first time I had this because it was this old lager, and the lager had run out, and a beautiful story started that day.
I think it's worth mentioning the 312 as well. Like that's That's their urban wheat, which is what they call it. I mentioned it in one of the episodes when we were talking about Francis Canner. So
Oh yeah.
if you're looking for an easy drinking, pale, it's almost clovey, banana-y on the nose.
It's a yellow and black can. Gorgeous.
Yeah, so it's wheat based, and it's very similar to the Francis Canner, almost similar to Blue Moon without that big orange and coriander hit. So it's a little bit more mellow than that.
Yeah.
But if you are looking for like a more modern style wheat beer, easy drinking again, I would recommend that as well.
And we cleared this up in the last episode, but anybody who was boycotting Blue Moon beer on the basis that it was a Manchester City beer, because that's what those guys sing and whatever, I don't really know. But no, it's nothing to do with Man City. It's just that was my misinformation, and so I'm going to try that beer now.
You keep saying you're going to try it, and then we haven't tried it. In fact, we'll make this a warning. Let's do it. Blue Moon next week.
Blue Moon next week.
More Cans Ain't Wise, episode 7. Blue Moon.
Yeah.
Get your cans in and have a
okay.
with us.
Yep. Do they do cans of it?
Yeah.
Okay, then it's suitable.
Again, it's an Astor or a Morrison's job, so.
Just don't do this to me. Don't.
I mean, just give Ben a load of abuse on Twitter, please, guys, because.
Also, for anybody who doesn't.
Anyone whose local supermarkets are Waitrose, Booze, and Co-op. Like, I'm trying to buy a different can from each of the big hitters and swap it around like they do, like they do on Saturday Kitchen. So I'm swapping it around a bit, and then you're like, oh, I live 40 miles from an Asda. I'm poor.
It's not 40 miles. It's a 40-mile round trip.
That's outrageous.
Yeah. Anybody else who doesn't live anywhere near either of those supermarkets, pick your golden phones up and send in a text. But it's a travesty, mate. It's fucking awful. I want the Morrison's beers. I've seen some stuff about milkshake IPAs, and they're the scourge of the beer market. But I want to get involved. They sound like my kind of thing.
They have massively stepped up their game recently with the craft stuff. I mean,
can we also? Oh, go on.
Tesco's still the brand leader in terms of if you're looking for variation and the crafty stuff. But if you haven't been into Morrison's and you do like your craft beer,
yeah.
I hadn't been in for about 6 months and went into the Merrion Centre in Leeds to theirs. And it's not a huge store.
Man of the people, James Brunsgaard, hadn't been to a Morrison's in 6 months.
Yeah, just like to support independent businesses, mate.
Oh, God, fucking had my pants down there, Annie. Oh.
It's just too easy once you do it.
Yeah, well, can we just can we give a special shout out to Sainsbury's for being the worst? I mean, what on earth have they got? That shelf is dreadful. Their own beer with the elephant on, some Beaver Towns, and that is it.
Get them told then.
I know you're listening, John. John Sainsbury's.
Johnny Sainos.
Johnny Sainos.
Have a word.
Get out of my pub.
My first ever job, Sainsbury's.
Yeah?
Yeah, New Year's Day, 2003, 2004.
Yeah.
Must have been 17. Had some beers the night before.
Of course.
I was woke up at like 10 o'clock or whatever. Had work at midday.
That is on the face of it, that's quite good, having work at midday. But then that gives you license to stay up later. And on balance, probably better to start at 9.
Well, I was, as I say, 16 or 17. I didn't really know how the world worked. And I was absolutely smashing it down, like the heaviest rain you've ever seen. And I stood at the bus stop for like what must have been like 45 minutes to an hour.
Yeah.
All the time getting later and later and later. But obviously,
colder and colder and colder.
But obviously buses don't work on a
bank holiday.
So instead of like ringing the supermarket or getting a taxi or any of those things, I walked the 1.5 miles into Keighley's Sainsbury's.
Yeah.
In the pouring rain.
Yeah.
To be absolutely soaked in water when I got there, for the woman to say, "Oh, it's pretty quiet. Get yourself in the taxi. I'll send you home."
Wow. And then did you pocket the money and walk home, or?
No, I was gone. I was gone at that point.
Yeah. Because it's double time. That's what I was thinking. Like New Year's Day, you know.
Yeah. I can't remember it being I can't remember being particularly affluent on my 12 hours a week at Sainsbury's. We were the Friday night, Saturday morning crew.
Yeah.
Working provisions.
I watched a guy today and I nearly got run over by this car, but I had no respect and then quite a lot of respect because this was in Macclesfield before you make any jokes. This Porsche 911 Carrera 4S Turbo, I've got a small dick car, like sort of went towards the back of my legs, but not quite, anchored his brakes on. And then his lad got out in his Aldi jacket and went to work. I was like, fair play. Yeah, man of the people.
Man o' the people.
Mm.
Should we get on to top three, mate?
I think we should get on to top three. Let's do a quick breeze over what we did last week, just so the people at home don't feel like they're missing out.
Yeah, I mean, this is the only bit that we kind of rewrote in its entirety, really.
Yeah, because if we redid the top three, there's a lot of surprise. This is I've got to be honest, right? For all the beer stuff we do, this is my favourite part each week because they're so different and wild.
Well, it's top three, but I'm still not really sure what I'm going to say.
So, we got a bit of a recording at the beginning of how it actually sounds when we do this. And yeah, James is riffing this whole episode. So well, some of the best music's written, just riffing. Blur song 2, wrote it in a sitting, said some words, thought of a thing, worked quite well. None of it makes sense. Happy days. So a bit like this. So yeah, things we would miss, I think it was last time. And
so my three, to give you a flavour, top three things you would miss if they were gone. At number 3, I had Sunday dinners.
Yeah. Oh, the Sunday dinners debate was amazing. We might have to put it online just to talk about it.
Everyone just tell Ben that 100% Yorkshire puddings are with beef. Chicken in Yorkshire puddings is a disgrace.
Yeah, but I put a very one-sided question on Twitter, and well, mate, the people spoke. I know you said the people are wrong, but that's not how a vote works.
People are wrong. Number 2, supermarket or convenience store meal deals.
Meal deals, yeah.
And my number 1 was Lionel Messi, the number 1 thing that I'd miss if he was gone.
Yeah, and
I'm not thinking he's going to die, but I'm not really that bothered about him avoiding tax and being with his family and shit. I'm going to be annoyed when he stops playing football.
Yeah, if he does just drop down though, you're gonna have police knocking at your door. And I said I was going to miss Ryanair because cheap flights are going to be a thing of the past. Rock music because I didn't fancy having a laugh that day. But yeah, I think rock music, we're seeing the death of rock music because it's got such a sort of, the people who are getting into the music industry now have to be absolutely loaded to even start and market themselves and get where they need to be. And then air freshener, which doesn't really we're not talking about that. But
yeah, it was an interesting time.
I thought, when you come up with something and you think, right, everybody's going to agree with me here, that this is perfect. And then James just gave me a look. And unfortunately, because we are on Zoom, I can see exactly how he's thinking, got a proper close profile of his face. And he just went, you fucking weirdo. So, yeah.
It was 10 minutes of my life I'm not getting back. And so we're not going to bore you guys with it.
Whoa! We aren't.
So, fine, yeah. I'm going to go for it. Top 3 this week, guys, is guilty pleasures.
Guilty pleasures is a great one because on the one hand, you're complimenting something, which is something we don't do a lot of, but on the other hand, you feel guilty about it. So, yeah.
At my number 3, I'm going to defend something that has been much maligned over the last few decades.
Yeah.
Something that's been targeted by the general public, the press, all types of people, comedians, and I want to stick up for the Bounty Bar today.
Right, a Bounty Bar, obviously. I mean, when you get the celebrations box and you like a bounty, you are quids in.
100%. This is what I'm going to say, is that whilst I could probably count on the fingers of one hand, even the fingers of one Burnley hand, how many times I've bought a Bounty Bar in the last 10 years.
Yeah.
Like you say, mixed boxes of stuff, nobody else likes them. So if you've got a brain like mine that goes, if nobody else likes these,
if I learn to like
10,
these,
yes, exactly.
And if you're in an office and you're the guy who's scraping around all the bounties at the end, I mean, you are the office pedo. Like that is, you're a proper strange guy.
Proper nonsense. I'd have a bounty over a Mars bar. Come at me, world. Come at me if you think that's wrong.
I think we're gonna have to edit that out. That is disgusting.
Maybe I'm a disgrace, but like, it's tropical.
There's a bounty on your head. It's tropical.
It's got a fun name.
Yeah.
It tastes of coconut.
Yeah, rare. Most things don't.
Yeah. It's in a white wrapper.
What?
I don't really know. I don't really know what I'm saying. I was just like rambling.
Whoa! And you drew a comparison with a Mars bar, James.
Oh God, yeah.
Would you like to think about this?
No, I'm not. Today's no apologies, is it? I'm not apologising.
I don't want to hear what your third guilty pleasure is.
So what's your number 3, mate?
Okay, so like you, I didn't really know how to go with these and how embarrassing. So I'm gonna just see.
Sorry.
My number 3 is Google reviews. I love a Google review. It was ever since I accidentally. Right, I've just realised how much this is incriminating myself. I accidentally came across a review for something on Amazon, and I noticed that somebody had taken time out of their day to write something funny, and it was a review for condoms on there, and it said, "Great product, came on time." Yes.
I've got a lot of time for that. I mean,
well, so does he.
I mean, in the same bracket, you've got the under comments on Pornhub, haven't you?
Well, I've got some of these, right? So,
all right, before I go into that, yeah.
Because I love, mate. Okay, right, we're going into that because that's a whole subsection that I'd love to go into. But yeah, it's not just the Domino's thing where it's like, oh, fucking hell, they said it would come in 45 minutes and then it came in 25. Would have been fine, but I was balls deep in the wife at the time. You're like, that's funny, And then there's a 55-gallon drum.
Macclesfield as well,
yeah, it's 55-gallon drum of lube, and it's like, oh yeah, really discreet packaging. Neighbours hardly noticed, but it fell down on the driveway, and now massive cars can slide into the garage. But that's not the guilty pleasure because that's just funny. Like I think they're really funny. What I get into is a bit of a rabbit hole where you find some niche little weirdo who reviews every time they go to the supermarket, and they live in like Abergavenny or something. And, they're just slating the staff, and you can find them yourselves. I mean, it's dead easy because when you leave a supermarket, it always asks you to give your opinion, doesn't it? But yeah, that's my favorite, apart from when the supermarket gets back in touch to slate the person and says, well, actually, you're exposing yourself to the staff and that's why we had to throw you out. So yeah, Google review rabbit holes, I absolutely love, and I will be putting some on the socials.
Speaking of exposing yourself in the supermarket, shout out John Rank.
I have no idea what that means. And that's the way we will keep it.
That's the way we'll keep it.
Pornhub reviews, absolutely awesome. You have a whole myriad of strange people.
It's just a collection of girls trying to push their
OnlyFans. Yeah.
Blokes with outrageous it's the most horrible, but also sometimes randomly the most uplifting comment of anything.
It'll just be like, oh, he's got this size wrench and that's a Hitachi whatever, or that's a Dyson. that'll never work. And it might be Leroy Sané, stay at City. You're like, what do you think he's watching? I mean, it's an interesting way of reaching him, but
Leroy Sané, porn addict. That's gone to Germany.
Why? Oh yeah, actually, I suppose.
You just got to use your noggin. You got to think about these things, guys.
You see, people were just saying it was because of the fact that they might actually win a Champions League and go back to his native country. But you've sussed it. Leroy Sané moved to Germany for the porn.
Porno fiend, mate. Into it.
Yeah.
Yeah. No one has hair like that if they're not into it all.
Yeah, I don't know anybody with hair like that, so I can't confirm or deny that.
That's a fair point. Should I say my number 2, mate?
Yeah, go on.
80s pop music,
Oh, yes.
in specifically the works of Frankie Goes to Hollywood.
Okay. For the uninitiated, which I tend to say with everything that you like. Frankie Goes to Hollywood. Give us a bit of a synopsis.
Most people like big tunes like Power of Love that isn't really a Christmas song, but everyone plays it at Christmas. Two Tribes, Welcome to the Pleasure Dome.
Oh, yeah.
They're all just 80s bangers. So like,
Yeah.
I like with them that you can put them on in any scenario. Like, I imagine if you put them on at a wake, like everyone pretends that they're in an 80s, and they're in like a Ford Mustang driving down the road,
Yeah.
like with the aviators on or whatever. Like,
Yeah.
it's ultimately uplifting. People, when you mention Frankie Goes to Hollywood, people say it's crap. I disagree.
Okay, well, I only know that the 60-odd-year-old lad that we have at work, he listens to Frankie Goes to Hollywood a lot. And I ask him what he's listening to, and that's what he listens to.
Well, maybe that's... Yeah.
I haven't heard. Go on then. Right. Well, I mean, you can like your 80s. I mean, you do bring up your 80s pop music quite a lot. So I don't know how guilty you feel about that. Why do you feel guilty about it?
Because case in point is you just likened me to a 60-year-old man for liking it.
Very true. Very true.
You're the problem, and I'm pointing at you now because you are the problem.
Shit. You know when you think you're just ignorant, and actually you're the problem as well. It's terrible. It's terrible.
Yeah,
well,
I'm joking. You're all the problem. Everyone's the problem. Hit movie 2, mate.
Right, okay. I'm going to segue from that into... I just want to say that actually I love Taylor Swift music, right? I've watched the documentary on Netflix. This isn't, I don't think, my number 2, but... Yeah, go on then. Yeah, it could be my number 2. I'm going to get into this. So you watch the documentary, and at the beginning you're thinking, yeah, well, you know, she's a bit annoying and stuff like that, but she makes some good tunes. And I can't get over some of the songs. Like Blank Space is one of my favorite songs of all time. You put it on anytime, I'm dancing. I don't dance, but I dance to that. But the documentary, what it taught me is that she's been through hard times. Like when Kanye West did that awards ceremony little performance that he did, because he's an absolute wanker. She was only, 17, 18 at the time. She was making country music. She was from like a, pretty normal background. And yeah, that could have ruined somebody's life. She had eating disorders as a young girl. She got over that. People telling her what she should be, what she shouldn't be. And she just forged her own path. And then people told her that she shouldn't be political. She's being political. She's standing up for people and things that she believes in. That's admirable, So I don't think that 28-year-old lads are supposed to eulogize about Taylor Swift and listen to their music all the time. But I bet a lot of you do. And Taylor Swift, in everything that she does and the way she conducts herself, is my guilty pleasure.
Well, I'm proud of you, mate.
I feel like I've just come out.
You're sticking to your guns. I'm proud of you. You just be the person you want to be. That's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's okay.
Do you like Taylor Swift music? Do I have to sort of tell you some of her greatest tunes?
I really like, without getting too musicy about it, 1989, the album.
Yeah.
Ryan Adams, not to be confused with Brian Adams.
Yeah.
Before he turned out to be a bit of a wrong un.
But what?
Got a really good covers album of it all. It's fucking ace.
Okay, yeah, fair enough. So what you're saying is, I like her songs that she wrote herself, but not how she sings them.
I don't. Yeah, it's good pop. It's good pop music, but like that.
You're the problem. You're the problem.
I'm the problem. Man.
Yeah, because she's a girl, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I'm a sexist disgrace.
Yeah. Taylor's, a unisex name, and you probably clicked on thinking, oh yeah, he sounds all right, and then...
He sounds all right, yeah. He sounds up my alley.
Nope.
Just no. So, my number 1, whilst you all think I'm weird, I'm going to push it a little bit further. Now, I don't want anyone to think that I'm a bit of a weirdo, but one of my number 1 guilty pleasures, and it's going to make me sound like a bit of a lunatic, But I like, especially if I'm on my own, like buying a beer or a coffee or whatever, and people watching in public spaces.
Oh, yes.
It's one of my favourite things. I know you're not supposed to do it, and I know I'd feel weird if somebody was watching me.
But they are.
But I can sit in like a train station Wetherspoons. Well, not Wetherspoons anymore, fuck them. But a train station pub or a pub in a European city or like in a square or whatever, and literally watch people for hours on end.
But what are you looking for?
Mainly people falling over.
Yeah.
Domestics.
Oh, God, a domestic in town. That's one on its own, isn't it?
Yeah. Shouting kids.
Yeah.
Big fan of outside work at mine in Leeds.
Yeah.
When you walk in from the station, there's one paving stone that's loose. And if people stand on it and it's been raining, it covers them in water.
Yeah.
And there's a little coffee shop over the road. And I have in the past, when it's been raining, sat in the window waiting for people to walk over there. And I've just told that to our entire audience, haven't I? Which is grim.
Well, you've not said where specifically you work, I don't think.
Yeah, let's keep it that way, eh?
Yeah. So, right. I mean, I think a lot of people will agree with you because coffee shops all have big glass windows. And they're the seats that go first on those stools. And there's a reason for that.
Also, like, correct me if I'm wrong, but if somebody's having a conversation on the train,
yeah.
Like, number one, they shouldn't be having it.
Like, at all?
Nobody gives a fuck. Like on your phone on the train.
Oh, okay. I was going to say, yeah, like, right, okay, Mr. Silent Carriage.
Like, number one rule is don't have a silent carriage is what the fuck. But, like, don't have a phone call conversation on the train unless it's like, hi, can you pick me up? See you later, bye. But if you do, you then forego all, like, rules of other people eavesdropping on you.
Oh, definitely, yeah. And also...
I don't care about Sharon and Bob from Barnsley, but if they're on the phone next to me, I'm going to listen to every minute of their conversation.
Yeah, because you feel like you're cheating life because you can hear the other side of the conversation because of the nature of, like, the ear works as like a speaker.
Yeah.
You know, so you get both sides. And again, if it's a domestic, then it gets turned up a few gears when you go under a bridge and they can't hear each other. And
yeah, for clarity though, with all the Kasabian stuff coming out this week, it's like we're not talking like a domestic with violence. We're talking like an argument, like the petty arguments. That's what I like.
Yeah.
Whether it's like two lads shouting at each other, or two girls, or a couple, or whatever it is, especially if it's public and they're trying to keep it concealed.
Yes. So when you've got one consideration for you're right and you're trying to make your point, and another for the fact that everyone's listening.
You're in Asda. Oh well, no, not if you're in Asda. If you're Ben, you're in Waitrose or Booths or.
Oh God, yeah. There's some pretty hairy moments in Waitrose, gotta say. You're next to the truffles and the
in the queue for the free coffee and the copy of the Independent.
Right. Sorry if this sounds thick, but does that happen?
Yeah, it's free coffee in Waitrose, isn't it?
I don't know.
That is a lie. That is a huge lie. I can honestly say I've not been in Waitrose in I think I've been once in my life.
Yeah, I was a proud person like that, and then I moved here, and last year...
I'm not a proud person, mate. It's just when you live in Bradford, not that many Waitrose. Yeah,
they have a really good beer selection, and also...
It's not out of choice.
Yeah, they sort of have no shame when it comes to the reduced section as well, because, like some supermarkets will be like, yeah, this went off yesterday, and they slash 4p off it. But the Waitrose reduced section is just an absolute frenzy. You can get something that was worth like £28, like a normal box of fish fingers, worth £2. It's just happy days.
Get something that's 1,000 times its value, and you can just pay double for it instead.
Well, topical. That's what's going to happen, isn't it, with this whole VAT slash thing? Is that everybody's just going to put their actual prices up?
Yeah, and I think that's what companies should do.
Because then they can make the money back themselves.
Yeah. Put my on trade hat on too much.
Oh, put it on.
what you do is you just keep your price, especially with the beer trade. Is people you won't really see a change in the beer price because.
But then when all those wankers go to the go to the pub and they're like, why is this the same?
Well, without getting like too into it, say like a barrel of beer, like Taylor's Lamrod's a good example.
Yeah.
That's probably 100, 110, 120 pounds for a 9 gallons. So it works out about 130, probably 140, with the VAT per pint to buy. So your local probably sells it between £3.80 and £4 or whatever for 66% GP or 3 times your value. So on that, like say it's £4 at 20%, like that's like 80 pence go straight to the tax man.
Yeah.
Like, so you take that off and like, so it's like 320. Say you pay 150 a beer, you're only making 170 a beer. Whereas at 5%, you're making another 60p.
Yeah.
So
and it'll add up. People go past you as well.
Well, yeah, but also like, yeah. So instead of making like £1.30 on a beer, you're making £2, which is like doesn't sound a lot, but it's the same serve time with the same labour force. So it's like it's mad. Like it's a positive incentive to do stuff. Like
definitely.
I don't know how it's going to work because obviously it's only been announced today, but like it is. It sounds like a very positive thing for industry, and that'd be something that I'd be like saying to people is go out and use. This is like the time to be used, and if you want to have your local coffee shop or your local bar or your local restaurant still be in business in a year's time, use them all the time because without getting too serious about it, is that this is the time that those guys, your local butcher or whatever, needs you more than ever.
Yeah.
Oh, got a bit serious, isn't it?
Yeah, we sort of went really around the way there because we talked about pop music and then back to social responsibility.
Me with my moral conscience, which is a bit strange, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Have you got a number one for us?
I have, and I'm not going to say the number one I was going to say. I'm going to say a different one because it's too embarrassing. My number one, guilty pleasure, because I love this and I know that it is the bane of some people's lives. And unfortunately, it wouldn't be that embarrassing if it was only me, but this affects other people quite a lot. And I love getting pissed and making friends on public transport. That is right up there for me. When we're getting the train home, just anybody will do.
Have I told you about this story?
Oh, God.
So one of our friends, Tink, I went to Budapest on his stag do. And like not thinking anything through, like the lads who stag do was they're all from Hull. And the guy who's organising it is like from Hull, works elsewhere. But I just assumed like I never looked at the plane tickets until like 2-3 days before.
I hate where this is going. I can already tell.
So turns out we're flying from Gatwick at like 10 a.m. or whatever. And on the way back, we fly into Gatwick. It arrives at 11 p.m. So I've got no like train ticket or whatever, and I managed to sort myself out. My dad had through when we went to Aberdeen for the cup, like Birmingham. We managed to like get a load of free train tickets because we'd had all our trains cancelled. It was a nightmare.
Yeah.
So for the first time ever, I travelled in first class on the train. Stayed in Gatwick after the stag do.
Oh yes, you've told that story.
So on the way down, fine. Had a couple of beers, met the boys, went on the stag do. It's like 4 days of consistent drinking. Like
that's too long. It's too long.
So we get into Gatwick, and it's like supposed to get in at 11. It's delayed in Budapest, so it'll get us back till 2 a.m.
Yeah.
I walk around, like I walk to the hotel. I can't get out of the car park. I get locked in the car park. Like I have to ring a number to get out of this secure car park at 2 a.m. So I'm pretty tired, really hungover.
Yeah.
My train's at like midday to London. So I get the train. I'm the most hungover man. Like I've been stood outside in the pouring rain like the night before. Like I'm horrendous. I've got a Coke, a Red Bull and a coffee in front of me, and I've had a couple of waters.
And the desire for the world to swallow you
Yeah,
whole.
100%.
Yeah.
And it's it's totally empty. It's like the 2 p.m. service on a Monday afternoon. Nobody there. I'm getting waited on hand and foot, like thinking first class is great. Guy gets on at Peterborough,
Yeah.
makes a beeline for me with 2 cans of Kronenberg in his hand, and I'm like, this is a bit of a worry, to be fair.
Yeah.
Interesting choice. He sits down, like not on the next table to me, like not like even on the court directly opposite me, with 2
Like a
cans of
proper bounty eater, like in your space.
Yeah.
Weird. Hmm.
I like that. And he slides me a can of Kronenberg, and he says, "Do you drink?"
It was already opened and had something fizzing inside it, did it?
And I was like, yeah, but I'm just being on a stag do. Oh, where do you go? Budapest. Oh, love it there. Are you having a beer with me then?
Yeah.
And I don't know what in my brain. I was like, fair enough. I'm gonna have a beer now.
But
Well,
that's
But why you thought that I would have it? So I ended up having 3 cans
yeah.
between Peterborough and Leeds, which I thought was a fucking great effort, to be honest.
Yeah, I can imagine the first one. Probably the first one was the worst. First the worst,
Yeah.
second the best,
Yeah.
third one make you doubt the rest of your life and want to die.
Yeah, it was a grim evening. But that guy had 8 cans of Kronenberg in the time that it took from Peterborough to Leeds when I got off.
8 cans. That's a night.
He was going to Edinburgh.
And this is in the day. Like,
Yeah,
what was he doing when he arrived?
I don't
Oh
even
shit! So he went from Leeds to Edinburgh as well.
So like I've told people the story. And I'm like, where did he come from? Like,
Yeah.
what? Why was he's one of you? He's like, I love getting pissed on the train and talking to people. And
Yeah,
then
yeah.
you mentioned that, I was just like,
I've met
so
a whole
bizarre.
host of people. I met an Australian ex-comedian who was telling me jokes. It was so uncomfortable because I didn't believe he was actually an ex-professional comedian because he was dreadful. His crowd manner was awful because everyone was telling him to shut up. I got an email one morning from somebody from New Zealand saying, "Hi, how are you and Beck? Anyway, glad to hear your wedding went well. Looking forward to coming and visiting you guys again soon." Thinking, who the fuck is that guy? The Conor McGregor special. Yeah, but of all the people I've met, I know the most cringy person in all of this is me, because I see it as like, right, these guys might not like me, but some might, and we're all here doing the same thing. We're having a good time. Who can we meet? Who can we meet?
You like a chat, don't you?
Oh my God, I like a chat, do I?
The last Saturday before lockdown, that was in
Oh, good God.
Piccadilly Station.
Piccadilly Station, just bowling around like everyone wanted to be my friend.
At like 9 p.m, everyone's coming into town, and we're trying to go home.
We're doing the responsible thing and going home at a decent hour.
The other responsible thing was meeting at the Northern Quarter at 11:30 in the morning.
So on the way back from United, I thought, because United had just beaten Southampton wrongfully because they got a goal disallowed when they shouldn't have done. But, take it. So we were coming back from the cup final and got chatting to a lad who really took exception to me speaking to him, like really thought I was just not worth knowing. And one thing led to another in no way. I ended up finding out that this guy was the younger brother of one of our very best mates. It was Big Mike's younger brother. And I just thought, I'm a fucking disgrace here. Need to stop this behaviour. So from that day, I decided I'm not going to meet people on public transport and be an embarrassment. But like any addiction, it's really hard to stop. And I've curbed my behaviour in no way, shape or form. And I don't think I ever will.
Yeah, you call it a guilty pleasure, so you have no intention to stop.
I would.
I could stop whenever I want, man.
No, it's like a guilty addiction.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like a... yeah, so that's mine. And I'm sorry, Beck, and I'm sorry to everybody that I ever get on a train with, apart from the people who emailed me saying how great it was. And I don't know why. I mean, I have business cards just to give out on the train, apparently. So, yeah.
Yeah, I'm glad the wedding went well.
Oh yeah, I like to make up that we've done things, you know, like and who we are. On Beck and my first date, we went to Soup Kitchen in Manchester, and it's one of those sit down on long tables and get to know the person you sat next to kind of venue that won't exist anymore after COVID. But it was nice while it did. And yeah, somebody was talking about how he was divorced and like just got divorced a couple of days ago and was in a bad way. I was like, oh yeah, Beck and I just got married. We were on our first date and thought it was funny. And then we had quite a long conversation. And she's still with me all these years later, hating it probably.
100%. I've said this before. I've said it on the podcast before. Don't leave her. You can't do better. Like...
No, never. No. So, right. Should we segue into... Do you hear that music, James?
Oh, I can hear it coming.
Oh, yes, it's on. Because it's a new feature. I've had a beer. So, this is lager, lager, lager shouting. James, what is lager, lager shouting, apart from the lyrics to a song?
We're just going to talk about household name lagers and anecdotes around it, I think. That's the plan. We've got a bit of a rating system for this, which is good, the bad, or the ugly. The ugly meaning like weird or indifferent or...
It's
strange.
better for James and my egos that we don't, you know, classify ugly for what it actually is, because people around, well, certainly I remember at school being told ugly. Yeah, that's just people can't appreciate you. That Sugar Babe song that I like so much, you know, people, you're not ugly. You know, nobody's ugly. They just don't understand how beautiful you are because it's not obvious. So yeah, that's what ugly is.
That was from the heart, wasn't it?
Okay, now
I feel like I want to come and give you a hug.
Well, mate, that's against the rules, but I wish you could.
I wish you were in there.
Right then. So, what are we reviewing on the lager shouting first ever lager review?
Stella Artois.
Stella Artois, the official beer of Wimbledon.
We're not going to talk much about lagers. We're just going to talk about how I've got a pretty funny anecdote for you about lagers.
Yeah.
Stella. We're in Belgium for the World Cup final.
Stella is a Belgian beer, a Belgian Pilsner.
So it's from Leuven in Belgium.
Yeah.
It's been made since the 14th century, 1360s at that time. That's usually says on the can, doesn't it? It's about
1366 is when the brewery was established.
Nailed it. This is why we do this stuff. Nailed it without even looking.
I can't believe I've come up with a beer fact.
Well, I can't believe you've proven how you can read. Congratulations.
So you were in Leuven, you were in Belgium,
so
time of the World Cup.
World Cup. We ended up going to. I drove my. What was it? Suzuki Alto, black Suzuki Alto GL.
You drove.
So we drove from Keighley, where I lived at the time, to Scunthorpe.
This is the smallest car. Like, imagine if Simon's car from the In-Betweeners had like a mini like a smaller version.
So it had we picked a lad up from Scunthorpe. We drove down to Milton Keynes, stayed there for a night, picked another lad up. Then we drove Milton Keynes Ramsgate in Kent, ferry over
It's a shame you didn't go from Southampton to do the Tiny Temper special.
Yeah, I love that. That's great. And then drove to Brussels, and then from Brussels to Amsterdam overnight for the World Cup final, because Holland were in the World Cup final, and then back.
Wow.
Yeah. But when we were in Leuven, with our mate Waffle, there was a place, a beer cellar that sold Stella, and all the glasses were between 200 and 400 mil. They're all and they've been there hundreds of years. They look like these glasses.
Stella cellar.
Oh mate, it was. This is Leuven. You could see where Stella was made. Like the original Stella building, and they sold it by the yard. So they had these yard-long racks that all the glasses fit in.
Oh, not the big long
no
ball at the bottom, right?
And this happy hour was, you paid €1 for however many glasses would fit in this rack.
Yeah.
So it's between like 10 and 14 usually. I say usually, I've done it once.
Yeah, so every time.
Yeah, so we sat there and obviously bought a rack each.
Yeah.
Sat in a empty pub in Leuven on a Wednesday afternoon in June. When all the locals were actually doing something else.
Perfection. Yeah, working.
And we drank for an hour and then realised at this peak, obviously non-peak time of tourism, you
Yeah.
can't get a taxi.
Nope.
Nope.
So you just stranded.
I remember being stood around for a long time. Just it was a great wild though. Some of those like Belgian and like if you ever go to Germany, some of the stuff that happens is just their like approach to life is so different as well. Like they just see people being drunken idiots all the time, so they don't even they're so laid back about it.
Because that continental never get pissed attitude in places like Spain and France where Brits typically holiday, it's a bit of a clash, isn't it? But then you go to your Austrias, your Germanys, I mean Belgiums, they know the score.
Yeah, like
it's a pretty sweeping statement about most of the countries that surround us.
Like still like the Germans do it with the beer festivals.
Oh.
I thought it was going to be rubbish when I went, and it was one of the best things.
You got to take exception to the fact that Oktoberfest is in fucking September. You know, when you don't know anything and it's October and you think, oh, I'll just go on holiday. Oh, no, it's finished.
Is that from
you know that?
Is that from personal experience? Or?
Yeah, it happened. But Stella itself, right? A Belgian Pilsner, which we established earlier. Personally, I think it tastes absolutely lovely. It's one that I wouldn't pick, but
again, it's another beer that's brewed under license. So it's AB InBev. It's Anheuser-Busch InBev. So it's 5.6% in Belgium. It's actually only 5.5%. It varies from bottle to keg actually.
Oh, mine's 4.8 here.
Yeah, 4.8. So they are actually different liquids.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's a classic, and we wanted to put it on first because there is definitely an image of Stella in this country.
We need to dispel the rumour, don't we?
And I think for a household lager, there's other big hitters that will come in this section where.
Don't call them big hitters based on what we're going to talk about.
I'm going to put them in bad. So this I have to put in good.
Yeah, I think this is a really nice tasting beer. It's crisp, it's authentic, it's got the history. You've been to the brew where it's made. I mean, it was brewed since 1366. That means that people all that time ago were drinking Stella of some description. I think that's awesome.
I imagine it didn't look anything like what it looks like now, but yeah.
Well, I mean, they might have had white string vests back then. But there's a couple of things. There's the elephant in the room we need to talk about, isn't there? And that's the Stella reputation, the wife beater reputation. And it's just utter fucking bullshit. If one type of beer makes you more inclined to hit your wife than another type of beer, then you need to throw yourself in the ocean with lead weights on your feet and never, ever bother us again.
Yeah, 100%. Like,
it's a beer.
I think it got the reputation, without being too, like, technical, it got the reputation because for a long period of time, it was the leading big-selling high ABV drink.
Yeah.
And that's where it's come from. And it was, like, at a reasonable price point. Like, it was at it was around that first supermarket, like, big expansion of, like, beers and all that. So it was accessible and it was high ABV and people drank it to get drunk.
Yeah.
And obviously it's well marketed and it's, like you say, the Wimbledon stuff. And I mean, they market it wildly as a French beer for Wimbledon, don't they? In the adverts.
Do you know what really, really pisses me off? I did a bit of research on this beer. Do you know what the national languages of Belgium are?
Now, the boot is on the other foot here because we had this conversation.
Yeah, we had this conversation word for word.
I guess English and that was wrong. and I
Yeah.
guessed Flemish, and that was wrong.
Flemish is wrong.
And I guessed French, and I was wrong. And I've just remembered. Yes, I do know, Ben.
So the national language for Belgium, I mean, it's 0.4% of Belgian people speak German as their first language. 39% speak French, the "C'est à toi fort, s'il vous plaît," and then 55% speak Dutch. So if you want to hear an authentic Stella advert, it's "Stella à toi fort, alsjeblieft." Would that sell? Alsjeblieft?
You sold me, mate. I think it's great.
That's pretty good, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Speaking of the wife beater scenario, and nothing too controversial here. Did you hear about the political scandal based around Stella?
I did not, Ben Blunt. Would you like to tell me more about the political scandal?
I'm going to tell you for the first time ever what happened when Tim Allen, a former aide to Tony Blair, became one of the heads of the Stella Brand Corporation, or whoever it might be that owns them. And he tried to use his political influence to have the words wife beater removed from their Wikipedia page. And apparently using your political influence to help the sales of your product in any way, shape or form is wrong. And so it remains there to this day.
I love that so much.
So yeah, that's a bit of Stella in the real world.
Wikipedia is wild, isn't it, for that?
Well, I have my own crosses to bear with Wikipedia, which we've spoken about in a former episode.
Is that, did they tell you that Oktoberfest was in October, mate?
Yeah, they did. And I couldn't get... You know what, actually, I said I'd miss Ryanair, but they're supposed to have refunded people now because it's all over and there's no refunds. So, yeah. Can I just second James's notion that Ryanair can suck a bag of dicks? It took me a few weeks, but yeah, definitely now.
We're on the Jet 2, Yorkshire's finest.
Well, Jet 2, Jess Glynn. I mean, we could go into that one, but we're not going to. But don't wear a fucking hoodie to a nice restaurant, you idiot.
Just don't wear it dressed like that. No one's discriminating against you because you're a woman. They're discriminating against you because you're a scruffy. That's it, isn't it? Really?
No. They're discriminating against her because she's ginger.
No, it's because she's yeah. Yeah. I get you. Yeah.
You know, some people say that's the last one that, you know, every generation has like that one that is like, oh, you can't say this, but you can say this. Enjoy it while you can.
It'll soon be gone.
One
day all this will be yours, son.
Right then. So we need to announce the winner of our massive competition that quite a few of you got involved with, and we thank every single one of you. Off the tops of our head, we had Biley's Mullet mention again. Thank you very much for your submission. We had Kane, we had Armo, we had, who did you say, James? We had Charlie, we had Charles.
My sister,
yes,
very close, which obviously she can't win the competition, but Finn, the dog, is very cute. And
yeah, we're not Blue Peter, are we? We have integrity when it comes to our competitions.
Yeah, but we're not a disgrace.
So let's announce our friend that won.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, in a close second place, Jimmy the French, the weightlifting cool fucking legend, new dad once again, absolutely smashed it by doing a bench press of more than I weigh times 3 and about times 10 more than I'll ever bench press, and then smashing a whole pint of Guinness. Not doing the Guinness game, just doing a whole pint of Guinness because he's hard. Really appreciated it. Legend.
And like on that theme, like our winner was somebody who actually parodied, or what's the other word I'm thinking of? Not parodied, but played Jimmy as a character in this film. And if you haven't seen this film, check our Instagram. It's amazing. Joy. It's sensational. So Paul Hutchinson is going to win it. We'll put all his details up so you can follow him and stuff. But
I mean, he put us to shame. We're here trying to do like media editing and stuff like that, and he was like, "Yeah, this took me 20 minutes," and he just absolutely smashed it. Acting, creativity, down in a whole pint when he only had to do a little bit to do the Guinness game. so much appreciation from us. So he won the much sought after hamper, and we'll be doing another competition. We're around 400 downloads at the moment, so I'm guessing in a couple of episodes' time we'll be towards 500. So we'll be doing our next big giveaway then. So
and please just follow us, and if you've got any ideas for games or competitions, please let us know.
I'd like to know your top 3 ideas, because it's difficult to put out there and ask, but anything that you'd like to hear our top 3 opinions on, that would be a real help, because we're just sort of going with whatever we think, and tend to just say whether we like or dislike things.
I mean, and it always ends up with 2 things, which is nonsense and Shrovetide football. So.
Oh, we've not spoke about.
That we could
Shrovetide football.
Little guilty pleasure right there, isn't it? But
well, that's why this is a 0.5 episode.
Stella would sponsor Shrovetide football, wouldn't they?
What an event that would be. And it would be whites versus skins, just because you'd either have a vest on or...
God, I thought you were going to say whites versus something else then, and I thought we should probably not venture down that route.
What, in Ashbourne?
Yeah, well, yeah, I suppose.
If you say so.
Yeah.
Can I ask you a question?
Shoot.
Would you rather get pissed, like, rolling around on the ground? Well, not rolling around the ground, like, bumping into things, steaming, not able to have a proper conversation that you remember, off a sip every time, or never be able to get drunk again?
The second one.
Never get drunk again?
Yeah. Like...
You can't, like, take up crack or something and get high all the time, like, you know?
Well, no, because the first one, like we were saying before, like, one of the reasons we do this podcast is that we do it because we enjoy drinking now.
Yeah.
There was a point in both of our lives where we were drinking to get drunk and drinking to go out and party and socialise and whatever.
What, the weekend?
But I still like to think I'm Friday, Saturdays, oh, my life, yeah. And I just think that maybe we're beyond that. I don't think that. I'm just trying to pretend that I'm a functioning adult to people who are listening to this podcast.
Well, the correct answer was probably the one you gave, because then you could enjoy all the beers and probably be really skint. Imagine if hangovers and getting drunk weren't a thing, then you could just, like, crack on.
I went to the pub for the first time last night.
Oh yeah.
Lockdown. Shout out to the Brown Cow in Binley. Like, in terms of, like, social distancing and whatever, they'd absolutely never, like, order at the table service. Everything was like hand sanitizer. It was great. It was really good, but it still managed to lose the appeal of being a pub.
Yeah, like, keep the feel.
Yeah. So, but after I had 3 beers, and after 3 beers, I was drunk.
Yeah.
I was on my way.
So I didn't want to.
I don't know whether it's just.
Yeah, I didn't want to say, but I went to the pub on Saturday. It wasn't the first choice, but I wanted to watch the football, and we didn't have it on here, so went to a pub, rang ahead, said, "Are you playing the football?" She's like, "Yeah." I said, "Can I reserve a table?" She's like, "No reserves, but just, first come, first served." So I was like, "Right, cool, okay. Well, I'll come 2 hours before it kicks off." And then it got to the United game, and it wasn't on. But we were doing rounds, and I don't know, we had a few, and I don't know what happened, James, but I'm used to drinking cans now, and it knocked me for 600.
I love that.
Oh my God. Right, should we do the inevitable then?
Are we doing it?
Yeah, and we're both on the same page this time, apart from I've just spilled Guinness all over the bedroom floor. So, in honour of Jimmy and Hutch doing what they did in downing a pint, we're also, rather than doing the Guinness game, we're going to have a Guinness race this time, and whoever wins the Guinness race wins. So even though there's very little to gain from it for anybody listening at home, or I suppose watching on YouTube, there's probably something, but we're just going to do this because...
I don't think we should race. Like, we should race. We obviously should race.
Yeah.
I'll get a little timer on for us. And then I can commentate, can't I?
So we're doing a time trial.
Yeah, time trial. I like that.
Okay. And this, again, is self-imposed. We're doing it at home. And we might as well say on a Wednesday night, Stoke night. It's a cold Wednesday night in July.
What we're celebrating is Burnley have just got 8th. So,
Burnley have gone 8th. And everybody around Man United is capitulating, except us, which is so unusual. So, yeah, do you want me to time you first, or...?
You can go first. Set the bar.
Set the bar. And
So
I'm going to tip this down the camera, see.
So sports fans, here we are. I'm going to count in, and then we're going to go 3, 2, 1, go. And there he is, two-handed approach for it. He's been halfway down. The glass has gone well above the screen, so I can't see it. Stopped. And that is a 7.40, ladies and gentlemen.
No way.
And that time again, 7.40. Benjamin Blunt of Great Britain.
Benjamin Blunt of nowhere near a Morrison's or Asda.
For the what's your local beer drinking club called? The Knutsford.
The local pub.
Yeah.
The local pub. Oh, you're going to love this, and I'm so glad. I live near the best local pub in the world, the Builders Arms.
The Builders Arms.
Yep.
That's
Nothing.
Because our local.
Nothing weird about it.
Because our local at Hull was the Gardener's Arms, which I always thought was very strange as well.
I've never thought about that being like an actual gardener.
That's strange, isn't it?
Because I always thought it'd be funny to call a pub like the Queen's Legs or something like that, just to flip it on its. But yeah, the Builder's Arms. There's something vaguely like, not sexual, but just the admiration for a man's arms. You know.
Oh yeah, I've never thought about that really.
Is there something in that?
Yeah. It's just very. There can't be that many Builders Arms. If you've got any other weird pub names you think we should have a look at, let us know, because that's a.
The Builders Arms.
Maybe that's a good top 3. Thinking out loud, we'll do a top
Weird
3,
pub names.
Weird pub names at some point.
Yeah, let's do that because
Cool.
you're about to win the Guinness Downing competition since you've come up with the time trial option. Right.
Yeah, I just thought it was better. I think the viewers / listeners will like it more because it's better content. Because we can all race, mate, and we drag this over the listen time as well. So
Good shout. Right. So I'm going to press the button as you start to drink. So, ladies and gentlemen, he's putting he's going with the one-handed approach. He's looking at it and then he sizes it up and then he refuses, but this time he's gone for it. Okay, so James has tilted it back and oh my God, you've never seen anything like it in your life. It's like gravity is ×3. And I actually, to get my words out, he's been finished ages now, so I'm...
That was a 24-second, fine.
So, James, that was actually 7 weeks, 4 days. And so the clock time...
Episode 12.
The clock time, which is different to the actual tag time, you know how it is, when you're doing these things. I'm gonna award you 7 seconds on the nose for that.
What was the time?
It was 7.63, but I was like looking at you and your screen froze, so comfortably less.
Well, this is a great plug for our YouTube channel. If you want to see all the action and you miss it on the pod, fast forward it right to the end of our YouTube stuff.
That's the best thing to do because then it counts as a view, even if you only watch the end.
Have you got any other business, mate?
Any other business? Just a big shout out to Calder Barn Brewery and Alex Calder. Keep on brewing, bro. He's currently scaled down production to nothing because he created 8 beers and then decided that was it. He's not going to do anymore. I'd just like to say that the Imperial IPA that he got for us, that he sent in to the show, i.e. me, was awesome. The first one wasn't so nice.
This is devastating news for me. When Ben says, "Thank you very much to such and such a brewer for sending beers into us,"
yeah.
Thank you for the beers that I drank last week in the beer garden of the closed Builders Arms. Like, I enjoyed them.
Any other business, James?
Up, guys. I'm chill, I think. I'm just going to be like, Thanks for listening. I
Yeah.
don't really have much more to add to that. I say it every week, but really, really do appreciate your input. Let us know on what you think we should be doing.
Top threes, beers, anything.
Supermarket beers would be great. Just any input we'll love.
James Yates, you've not come up with a new feature for a while, and we're getting a bit dry. So if you'd like to send us an idea.
And also, we've got some really cool stuff planned over the next few weeks, and sort of rolling it out to a more live setting. So please just watch this space and let us know. And all your feedback's really, really appreciated. So.
Yeah, the Zoom stuff has led us to actually start a podcast, whereas the death of Zoom will be the life of the show because we're going to be out and about. Yeah, fuck Zoom. I'm glad you came around to that, James, because at the beginning you were, I mean, on one hand and the other hand. But the biggest thank you we can actually give is to the people who got in touch and said, I mean, and this sounds like one of these fake Instagram lot, like, oh, a lot of you have been asking, so I'm going to say, but genuinely to the people who did get in touch and say, where's episode 6? It means a lot because, you obviously care a lot about the show. We like making it. So if you like listening, that's awesome. We've gone on for absolutely ages today on not a lot of content. So, we absolutely love doing it.
Good luck with the edit then.
Well, we won't need to edit, James. It's just going to go straight out because we are such professionals. Actually, we're recording this to the cloud and I don't actually know what that means. So, get ready for episode 6.75 when this gets deleted. But yeah, all right then. Well, a good episode is an episode that ends concisely. Up the Burnley, up the Reds.
Peace out.
Peace out. Love you loads.